He stood in a silent room, holding a small jacket that no longer smelled like his child. The toys were still on the floor. The bed was still warm from the night before, but the heartbeat was gone. No prayer had stopped it. No miracle had reversed it. No explanation had softened it. In that moment, faith did not feel like comfort. It felt like the last thing left standing when everything else had collapsed. He did not turn to God because he was strong. He turned to God because there was nowhere else to go. And somehow, when reason failed, when words died, when hope seemed cruel, faith did not save his child. Faith saved him. The day the world broke, grief does not arrive gently. It does not knock. It shatters the door and takes over the house. The day he lost his child, the world did not pause out of respect. The sun rose as if nothing had happened. Cars moved. People laughed somewhere. Life continued oblivious and indifferent, but inside him, time stopped. Parents are not meant to bury their children. Every instinct rebels against it. Biology, memory, and love all scream the same truth. This is wrong. He replayed every moment, every decision, every missed sign. If only he had acted faster. If only he had noticed sooner. If only he had prayed harder. Grief always searches for guilt. Pain wants someone to blame other than the one who loved the most. When prayer feels like a Libby for the loss, prayer had been familiar. Words flowed easily. Faith had structure, rhythm, certainty. After the loss, prayer felt dishonest. What do you say to God when the worst thing imaginable has already happened? What do you ask for when nothing can be undone? Faith, in moments like these, feels fragile, even offensive. Verses about hope sound hollow. Promises feel postponed beyond usefulness. He did not stop believing in God that day, but he stopped understanding him, and that was far more terrifying. The silence that follows tragedies, the hardest part, was not the funeral. It was the silence afterward. When everyone went home, when condolences ended, when life expected him to return to normal, God was silent too. No voice, no explanation, no comfort wrapped in clarity. Many lose faith not because of pain, but because of silence. Because silence feels like absence. And absence feels like abandonment. Yet silence is not emptiness. It is often the space where faith is stripped of illusion. Faith, without answers, faith, before tragedy, often rests on assumptions. God protects the innocent. God answers sincere prayers. God intervenes when it matters most. The loss destroyed those assumptions. But faith is not the same as assumption. True faith does not explain suffering. It survives it. Faith, at its core, is not a system of answers, is a decision to trust without them. And that kind of faith is born only when everything else dies. The temptation to walking away would have been easier. Anger offered clarity. Bitterness offered control. Disbelief offered escape. To reject God would have given him someone to blame, but faith remained not as comfort, but as gravity, not something he chose, but something that held him when he could not stand. Faith was no longer about believing God would fix things. It became believing God was still there. A God who knows lost Christian faith does not worship a distant God immune to pain. It worships a God who lost a son. This truth does not erase suffering, but it transforms it. God did not ask humanity to endure pain he was unwilling to enter. The cross stands as evidence. God knows what it is to lose a child, and that knowledge does not remove grief, but it sanctifies it. The difference between healing and survival healing suggests closure. Survival suggests endurance. He did not heal quickly. He survived. Faith did not erase the ache. It gave him permission to breathe again. Some days, faith was nothing more than getting out of bed. Other days, it was choosing not to hate the world. Faith saved him not by restoring what was lost, but by keeping him from losing himself. When faith becomes breath in deep grief, faith stops being theology. It becomes oxygen, not inspiring, not poetic, necessary. He learned that faith is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quiet refusal to give up completely, the decision to stay, to endure, to keep breathing. That is faith at its rawest and its strongest. The long road of grief does not move in stages. It moves in waves. Some days are manageable. Others feel like the first day all over again. Faith does not flatten these waves. It anchors the soul so it is not swept away. Grief never leaves, but it changes shape, and faith walks beside it, not ahead, not behind, but with it. Learning to live with the scar time does not heal all wounds. Some wounds become scars that ache. When touched, faith teaches how to live with scars without letting them define identity. He was no longer just a father who lost a child. He was a man who carried love beyond loss. That distinction mattered. The mystery that remains. Faith did not answer the hardest question. Why? And it never promised to. Faith is not knowing why tragedy happened. Faith is knowing God did not leave when it did. Mystery is not the enemy of faith. Certainty often is. What faith actually saved faith did not save his child. It saved his sanitas mariagus capacity to love again, his belief that life was still worth living. Faith saved him from becoming bitter, hollow and closed. It saved him from defining reality by loss alone. The quiet resurrection is not always dramatic. Sometimes it looks like laughing again without guilt, remembering without collapsing, glaving without fear of loss. Faith did not bring the child back, but it brought life back. Slowly, gently, honestly. Faith that is earned in fire. Anyone can believe when life is kind, but faith forged in grief is unshakable. It is not loud. It is not showy. It is real. This kind of faith does not argue, it endures. For those still standing in the ruins, if you are reading this with a heavy heart, if loss has visited your life uninvited, if faith feels thin, fragile, or false, know this: faith does not require strength, only honesty. God does not demand understanding, only presence. The final truth: he lost his child. That loss never disappeared, but faith did not abandon him in it. Faith became the place where grief could exist without destroying everything else. Faith did not save his child. Faith saved his life. And sometimes that is the miracle that remains.